If a man opens up emotionally towards you about his past, that means he trusts you. Don't fuck around with that trust.
Be honest with me. What is the real reason why you're single right now?
I think I'm going to speak for all men in this video, and I'm going to do that by using a flow chart of what has happened to me. So let's jump right in. So here's little baby us. Okay, and then at some point in our childhood, we're going to go through something that's going to happen to us, which is going to then cause us to bottle up our emotions and learn to deal with it. Then, somewhere years later along the way, we're going to meet pretty girl number one. Pretty girl number one is going to make us feel trust again, in love and cared for, which will then lead us to open up about our emotions. Okay? And once time goes by and you spill all the beans to her, she will inevitably cheat on you. Okay? These little arrows here show how she's going to use all your insecurities and trust issues and mental health to then throw it back in your face and make you seem like the bad guy and make you feel like shit about yourself. Okay? That will then cause us to self-sabotage and be upset. Okay? We will self-sabotage every relationship going forward. Okay? We're going to go to alcohol and money and fast things like motorcycles. And in the very end, we will never trust a woman again. So that pretty much is the Spark Notes version of it. That lays out everything you guys need to know. Girls, hope you got it. Boys, got your back. I'll see you next time.
I know this to be true for so many men, but for the women that are listening to this, they will absolutely say, well, women go through a similar thing, right? They go through hurt where a man has hurt her, but that doesn't allow her to hurt future men back, right? But there is a key difference in the experience of what a man goes through and what a woman goes through. And so I want to highlight it because this man, he touched on it. And that key difference is that a man is made to feel like the bad guy, all right? Even though oftentimes it's either the woman or it's a combination, right? It's both of them. They both have parts within the demise of that relationship, but the man is made to feel like he's the bad guy. And it's very infrequent where a woman is actually made to feel like the bad guy, like socially, publicly, and just between the two of them. And that is why a man will go through the process of bottling up and he won't open up and he will turn to some of those other things that helps him cope. So yeah, ladies, for a lot of men that are single, it's because of how he's been treated. Tell me I'm wrong.
Pearl was describing how men respond to unfavorable conditions, not prescribing those conditions as acceptable. Of course, a feminist can't understand the difference.
Men don't care if they're not welcomed. They don't expect people to just accept them into a group like women do, because again, men live in the real world. Women do not. We live in this play pretend world where we're given more credit for what we actually do than we do.
Mm-hmm. So I've seen you speak many times about the detrimental effects that all of these things have on men's mental health, and that they have a higher rate of suicide, they have how all these things. And so I think that it's really interesting that you care a lot, seemingly, about men's mental health, but then at the same time you'll say, oh, men don't care if you're mean to them, men don't care if they're not welcomed. You say all of these things that have an impact on men's mental health. So I think to care about one, you have to recognize how it impacts the other.
What I'm saying is men understand that that's the real world, and they know there's nothing they can do to change that. Women go into a man's world and they expect to be given special treatment and privileges.
Top-tier men don't have to announce to the world that they are top-tier.
If you were to only having to save one life, you can only save one between me and your mama. Which one are you picking? And we're gonna get ate up like real vicious death, like by piranhas, one by one, just taking bits of my body. I mean, her body. Which one?
No, you was right. Your body. You was right.
You picking your mom?
Bro, I'm picking my mom. I'm sorry, but I'm not losing my mom.
What the fuck? What about everything we've been through 8 years?
Yeah,
we soulmates.
My mom, that's 24 years right there, so I'm sorry.
What she do for you that I can't do?
Everything. She's done everything for me. I mean, I'm saying, you be throwing something, but what's that versus a mother? You know what I'm saying? I raised the kids by myself and everything like that, but like, I'm sorry, bro, you getting ate the fuck up. Like, they dropping you in there and you getting swarmed in, and I ain't gonna look. I don't even want to see it. Like, that's how much it's gonna hurt me, but you start coming over my mom.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry. The boys gonna miss you though. But you gonna make some real good piranha dessert. I know how that tastes.
The fact that he chose his mom shows that he is a keeper, and she just looking to create problems.
What I can appreciate about Passport Bros is I think it's an effective flag being raised for Western women as well. I'm not necessarily saying that they're going to find someone. I'm not saying that they're not going to get screwed over. I'm not even necessarily saying that I would encourage men to go do it. Like you said, if you want to, cool. The motivation for it is the fact that men are still expected to act very traditionally. They're expected to be very chivalrous. They're expected to be protectors. Maybe they're not expected to provide to the same extent now that women can essentially match them on income. But if that's what a man's duty to you is, to be chivalrous, it's very, very loosely defined what a woman's duty to a man is.
It's very ambiguous.
And that is why I think they go to places where they are actually taught from a young age how to treat a man. What is your duty to a man?
Getting out of the West was the best decision I ever made.
You go find a wife in the Philippines or Thailand or wherever these places are that are overseas. They're just happy to be rescued from their poverty-stricken life.
That in and of itself is racist. You see how quick the claws come out? The bitterness, the seething anger, triggered that Passport Bros are finding happiness in foreign lands because she can't do the same.
She needs to understand that a plane trip, a language barrier, and a cultural difference are less difficult to navigate than the modern Western woman's labyrinth of delusion.
Ladies, we are so funny. We're like, it's not hard to date us. I just need you to be obsessed with me, but not like too obsessed with me. You definitely need to call and text me every day, but you're one text away from being a literal stalker. I need you to make plans to hang out with me, but not too many plans. Like, do you have a life of your own? Ew. I need you to be financially independent and know how to make money, but not like too obsessed with money. You know what I mean? I want you to have such a good relationship with your mom, but like definitely why are you on the phone with her so much? It's a red flag if you talk shit about your ex-girlfriend, but like don't talk about her too much. Like, are you obsessed with her? I definitely want cute gifts every now and then, but you can't buy my love. Like, come on. I need you to be like a raging feminist, but also like super manly and masculine at the same point in time. Like hang my TV up on the wall, but also know that I can do it myself, you know?
Western men, if you need to be this guy or this guy just to date one of these women, you probably need one of these.
A glowing pile of nuclear waste.
A lot of guys are socially awkward.
I think you're a bit ignorant to like the average guy's experience. Consider this, right? The average guy today, his granddad had to put in a quarter of the work to get the kind of woman that is 4 times as amazing as the woman he's attracted.
Oh, are you talking? You're talking
like
about
his grandmother was an amazing woman and a very, very feminine, natural woman, and his granddad really didn't have to do the kind of work he has to do right now as a young man in the Western world.
So you're talking about hoflation.
Yes, it's hoflation.
Hoflation. So modern men have to work 5 times harder than their grandfathers did for women 20 times worse than what their grandmothers were.
It's true. It's actually true.
Especially considering a lot of us were socially awkward because we were dealing with girls growing up who would hurt us for fun or not even care how we felt.
If you are single and you are in the dating marketplace at that time, when that happens, say you're 37, 36, 38, 40, whatever it may be, and you are still on the hunt for that man, and you hit the wall and you can see in your face that you are no longer the face that you were at whether it was 30 or 35 or 25, whatever it is, you are going to be panicked because now you know that you are going to compete with women who are younger, who are largely more fertile, not always, but largely speaking, yes, who have that youthfulness to them, who have that estrogen, progesterone, whatever the hormonal balance is that makes someone young, it's there and you're losing it. And you become hyper aware of that. And that is why women begin to panic.
You know what I want to talk about, you guys? So I live in New York, specifically Brooklyn, and I be outside, enjoying summer as I should. And I've been going to the block parties, all of that good stuff, the day parties has been a time. But the problem is the men just stare at you. They just stare at you the whole time. They don't approach you. They don't want to get to know you. They don't want to, oh, do you want to drink? It's just a staring contest the whole time. I'm trying to figure out, how am I supposed to meet my future husband if the men are not approaching? Because I'm not approaching a man. Like, it's giving the men want to be chased now. That's what it's giving, and I don't like it.
Social media has created much of this cultural shift in dating. The attention women get online is their new husband. Approaching them in person is just an opportunity for them to diss you in person.
Because if I could explain to anybody how lonely pregnancy is, I can't put it into words. I'm just so frustrated with how I feel. Now you're saying
you let him hit it raw. You didn't have second thoughts. Now you're a single mom. Now you're a single mom.
I love how the song fades in over her talking. Genius.
I don't know if I'm just making this up or if it's just my intuition, but I have this feeling that the guy I'm seeing at the moment, he's getting off and having his little ego stroked by the fact that his housemates have heard us. I don't know if it's legit or not, but there's just some things that I'm just questioning. Like, he never tells me if there's other people in the house, and he never tells me to keep it down or anything like that. And when I ask, are there people here? He'll say no at times, but then there are. And then when we go downstairs, they kind of make these weird eye contact with each other and they're like, And it's a very boy club because it's a bunch of dudes living in a house together. And he seems insecure, like it seems like it's like an ego thing, but I'm not too sure. But it's weird and I don't know.
It always amazes me how some women don't want to go 50-50ths for a meal, but are happy with 50-50ths in a divorce.
So I just watched a video of a girl where she said that she got very humbled because she went on a date with a guy, and she said on the text messages he was very flirty. In real life, when they met, he wasn't as forward, and that the date went really well. She said they were out for 2 hours, they went for a walk, they went for a coffee, and then she said she bluntly just asked him, why is he more flirty on text messages than he is in real life? He then humbles her and he says, I think you're a very pretty girl, however, you do look a little bit different than your pictures. That's my opinion now, but I have enjoyed our date, but I do think it's more of a friendly vibe. All the comments are roasting this guy, being like, oh, but he's a walking red flag, you dodged a bullet there, and all this, right? I don't see anything wrong in what he's done. He's been very polite about it, he's went on the date with you, and you've asked him a question and he's told you the truth, but because it's an answer that you don't want to hear, you then come to TikTok for loads of people to then roast this guy, when, fair enough, you haven't put a picture of him up, thank God, but he's done the right thing. Some guys, I've heard stories where they'll meet up with someone and they'll leave them in a bar or a restaurant. Some people I know have driven off from people when they've just been stood there waiting. That's the wrong way to deal with it. How this guy handled it, I think, was correct, in my opinion. And I know this because I once used to use a lot of filters on dating apps, and when I met up with a guy once, you could tell he was not interested at all. And then he'd text me and he was like, I think you look a little bit different in your pictures. I was humbled. I never used proper full-on filters ever again. I might use like a smoother filter or a tan filter, but I never used one that made me look like a completely different person because I was humbled. And how that guy done it and how this guy done it was perfectly correct. So I don't know why, I just don't get with the comments why women are so against when people tell the truth.
I left a woman at a theater because she sent me a pic of herself when she was younger and in shape. When I picked her up, she was way overweight, and she also demanded an expensive dinner and snacks at the movie. I told her I had to go to the bathroom and got in my car and left.
Feeling about dating right now in more detail. Let's say I pull out a jar and I go, guess what? There are 10 M&Ms in this jar, and you go, Laura, that's amazing. I love M&Ms more than anything else in the world. And you're like, yep, get in here and pick out your M&M so you can be happy for the rest of your life. And then so you stick your hand in there, and all of a sudden you're in horrible pain, and you go, hey, what the? And I go, oh my God, I forgot to mention, also in the jar, it's filled with maggots and needles and acid. But keep sticking your hand in there, it's worth it to find the M&M. So you keep sticking your hand in there, but the maggots bite you or whatever maggots do, and the needles stab you, and the acid burns you. So you tell me, hey, this isn't fun for me at all. So I say, well, I think you're just really bad at picking out M&Ms, and it kind of seems like you like getting bitten and stabbed and burned. But you need to get back in there because there are millions of other hands looking for those M&Ms. Here's some advice from people who found M&Ms before, years ago, even though it sounds like they're not M&Ms at all. And so you keep trying, but you realize that every single time you stick your hand in here, you're just getting hurt. And every time you pull your hand out, it's getting more and more disfigured, and you're starting not to recognize yourself. And there was this one time you thought you found an M&M, but it was a maggot pretending to be an M&M for some time.
They confuse strong and independent with combative and insufferable, and that's the problem.
Okay, real quick for the ladies. I'm going to describe a regular man for you, and I want you to tell me if you would marry this man.
Okay. I don't know, really.
5'8", about 35 to 50K per year. Would you marry that?
Hell no. Hell no. He's below the poverty line. What are you talking about?
The poverty line is actually far less
regular.
than that.
Yes.
But,
What's
the average man in the United States today is about 5'8" and makes somewhere between $35,000 to $50,000 per year.
5'8" is fine, but I don't know about the 35.
Real quick, raise your hands. How many of you guys would marry that man? Raise your hands if you would marry him. Yes or no?
I don't even know any men in that
Okay, hold on.
position.
So no one at the table would marry this man, right? No. Okay. Congratulations. You and 1,000 other girls plus we've interviewed said the same exact thing. So it goes back to what I said. You said, most girls are gonna get a regular man. No, most girls don't even view regular men as members of society or an option. Most girls want extraordinary men.
A room full of 3s and 4s saying a 5'8" inches man making 35K, 50K is worthless made me question the future of humanity.
Sitting out here struggling to get this in my car. Men are walking back and forth. No one is trying to help me.
But why should they? And why would they even want to? After all, women have been telling men over and over again to leave them alone. Women are independent. They don't need men. And now some are complaining when men are actually listening to them.
They don't make real men anymore. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not all men, because there are good men out there.
That's a very good point. There are good men out there.
As a woman, like, you don't see men holding doors anymore. They don't help anymore. They rush and sit down on trains and buses before women and pregnant women and elderly are sitting down. It's just a hot mess out here. But
this really shouldn't come as a surprise. After all, isn't this what some women wanted? What modern feminism was pushing for? For women to be treated as equals to men, right? No special treatment needed. Don't need to hold open a door. Why help out? Women can do everything themselves just as good as men can. But now it seems some are complaining that they got exactly what they asked for.
Happened over the last couple of generations, but men don't help women. They don't offer to hold doors and things of that nature. And part of that obviously is because radical feminists, have said, if you hold the door for me, you're implying that I'm weak. So it's not like it's just the fault of men.
Do you ever fear about like looking like a Karen, or do you think you ever overreact?
I literally wear a shirt that says Proud Karen to the airport.
Really?
I sell them.
Oh, so you go in there ready to battle.
I let people know, like, like it's not.
And think about when you go to a bar, who's supposed to buy women drinks? Men are. Do you see that as often as like years and years ago? All costs.
I get all that, man. I have to protect
Even
that,
when
blah,
girls
blah,
are
blah.
fighting with each other, like it is so ugly. It is the ugliest thing that there is men around and they're not doing anything.
But why do you think men don't do that anymore? Because they used to do that before. But why do you think they don't do that anymore? They stopped doing that.
Why do you think you're a man? You tell me.
First of all, good question. The reason I think, men, we don't do it anymore because you guys don't respect us anymore.
Okay.
Second, you guys don't need us anymore. I don't need a man. I'm a strong woman, independent. You're the independent, you're strong. What do you need me for? What do you complain to me not protecting when you already have everything that you want? I'm a boss.
Little do women realize most men are treated like they're invisible. Welcome to the show.
So women are not forced to conform to what men want because we'll get the attention anyways. And there's evidence that suggests that 50% of women are never going to have kids or get married. And then you take the women that do get married, 50% of them will divorce.
And that's by 2030, so it's not even that far away. So like if we take this room for example, how many girls are there in this room? 2, 4, 6, 7. At least let's make it nicer than it is. At least 3 of us will never get married and never have kids. And that's a
50 years alone is a long time to practice, Karen.
I always talk about the demonization of, women who choose to stay at home, the demonization of housewives, the demonization of women who make a different choice than what is considered the acceptable choice of the modern feminist movement. And not every woman is going to want to be that CEO or enter the workforce. Some of them want to devote themselves to being a wife and being a mom. Why do we have to disparage them because they're making a different choice than what a lot of women make in this day and age? Why? Why can't we just fight that reflex? Because we all have it, right? I mean, Rollo Tomassi says we're all kind of raised in the feminist age, and hence we kind of have a little bit of that lens. I believe that he's right on that in many respects, because I even have to check myself sometimes, because it's almost like you're programmed to react a certain way, and it just starts coming out of your mouth and you're like, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. You really have to kind of deprogram all of that stuff and look at stuff for what it actually is.
Men really don't want to marry a crazy feminist.
Modern woman and like a lot of the feminist indoctrination, brainwashing, and American women with these like massive insecurity things. She's just saying like, well, I don't want men to be the leader. That's basically what she's saying. She's like, I don't want men to be the leader. I don't like women can be leader too. Not even women can be leaders too, but she's saying like women can be better leaders in certain situations.
I dislike the use of Annie from the hilarious show community in this context.
It's really interesting to note that, especially within the States, but just in general, the research actually has depicted that women in their 40s is the most unhappiest age group out there. Think about that. The unhappiest age group in all of the world, predominantly, we're talking about the States right now, is women in their 40s. That's 1 in 4 Americans, which is crazy. That's 25% of the population are women in their 40s. And they're the unhappiest group out there. And it's just absolutely scary and it's appalling. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? And at the end of the day, the number one reason why, well, there could be many reasons why, actually. But one of them, as I mentioned beforehand, is it's really all about e-commerce. It's about the pharmaceutical industries. It's about really just making money. It's a multi-million-dollar business for the most part.
A lot of those women can't seem to understand that happiness is an inside job. No one is coming to fix, save, or rescue them.
How old are you?
I am 42.
What does it feel like to be 42?
Exhausting all the time. I mean, it's cool. I've learned a lot over the years, but it's just exhausted. I'm working all the time and just trying to find time to balance life.
Does it feel differently than when you were in your 30s and 20s?
I thought I was invincible when I was in my 30s and 20s, and I'm clearly not.
Did you have like a moment that kind of hit and you realized you weren't invincible?
No, not really. Just over time, just started to realize it.
What is one thing that when we're younger we tend to prioritize, but as we get older we realize isn't actually that important?
Probably money. Realize that over time, family, friends, experience is more important.
Is there a reverse, like something that we don't prioritize enough when we're in our 20s that we should?
Time.
What should we do?
Just enjoy it more and really live in the moment.
Not in my 40s yet, but if there's one thing my 30s have taught me, it's that it's good to have goals and dreams, but it's the journey, not the destination, that really matters.
To be honest, I'd rather just be a little lonelier than deal with all the hassle of dating. I'm really not in a place emotionally and financially where I can deal with sorting through a bunch of misses to find a missus. Nowadays, with dating apps, there's always something new and more exciting just around the corner. So many women I've dated have abruptly broken things off because they found something more exciting. Dating is like taking on a part-time job. I don't have the time or the energy. I'm sure all of you can relate to that. Social media, Hollywood, and porn have really altered the expectations of the general public across the board when looking for a mate. It's actually really messed up psychologically when a person thinks about it. Specifically, unrealistic expectations are held by people who conveniently hold themselves to extremely low standards but feel entitled to the best. More specifically, unrealistic expectations are held by people who act like victims when they're confronted with equally high expectations.
This is why there are so many YouTube videos about building a cabin solo in the woods.
Girls are perfect 10 out of 10s. Like, we all know at least one. Guys don't talk to them.
I wanted to stitch this video, and I have talked about this before. I mostly got attacked in the comments section, unlike this creator, because I guess you guys have to hear something from a man to determine it true, but I digress. Yep, I said it. Anyway, personally, I think this is the case because ego. Guys love a challenge, they love to chase after something, but they don't like a challenge in the exchange of their ego or an ego burn, ego bruise, whatever. If they feel like they can't attain that thing that they're chasing, the thing that they're fighting for, them not getting it, that rejection will hurt them. They don't go after like the super intimidating, beautiful, like bombshell girl unless their ego gives them some reason to believe that they can attain that girl. But any seemingly normal guy most likely is not going to go after that girl because he feels like there's too much competition, her rejection is going to hurt, she has a boyfriend, she's intimidating, she's going to say no.
It's not the appearance. It's the attitude and persona of many beautiful women that's a turnoff and not worth it.
All right, y'all. Here's a question. Why men don't approach women anymore? Glad you asked. Let's get into it, family. Happy Saturday, everybody. Number 1, the fear of rejection. Women today, as we know, have some unrealistic standards. Some women. Unless he has a 6-pack, 6 figure, and is 6 feet, you can't talk to him. Number 2, it's not just about the fear of rejection. For some men, it's the fear of being labeled a creep or a predator because the man that's approaching you isn't your type. So because he's interested in you, he a creep? Come on now. Number 3, online dating, which has made it so men don't have to get rejected in person. Number 4, social media. Now you can just run up in somebody's DM. You don't have to have communication skills. I think all this technology and everything has made our communication skills terrible, y'all. Terrible. And last, we've seen how women will reject men in unnecessarily rude ways. It's okay to not be interested, to try to embarrass them. Y'all, we gotta stop.
I got called creepy for walking down a hall. I wasn't even interested.
Wait, Brian, did you just say that you don't like challenges?
Yeah, when it comes to dating, no, I don't.
Okay, I think you're just self-admitting and not being an alpha, because that's what makes some relationships more exciting and for the guys to keep pursuing, because if it was safe and stable, it kind of gets boring.
No.
That's how girls
Okay, first off, we're talking about dating. I absolutely engage in challenging things when it comes to my business, when it comes to all that. I'm not shying away from challenge. When it comes to dating, again, Proverbs 21:19, better to live in a desert than with a quarrelsome and nagging wife. I don't want my partner to be a challenge. I don't want to date a fence sitter chick. I don't want to date a girl who's playing hard to get, because if you play hard to get, you quickly become hard to want.
Why do women honestly believe that dating them should be as annoying as possible?
When a woman says that you're controlling, toxic, insecure for not wanting your girl to go party 4 or 5 nights a week and get drunk and put herself in these sorts of situations, that's basically essentially just shaming language. You're trying to shame men out of using our masculine instincts to keep her out of positions that put the relationship at risk. There's absolutely no reason that a man should allow his girlfriend to put the relationship at risk. And I do think it's the case that if you're going out and partying and getting drunk and being around these kinds of people in these kinds of environments, you are putting your relationship at risk.
He is 1,000% correct. Nothing controlling or insecure about having boundaries and respect.
All that work and what did it get me?
Yep, because newsflash, honey, we've been lied to. Men don't want porn stars. They want women that can control themselves. Thank you.
You don't need to sleep with more than 100 guys to figure out how to satisfy a future husband. That is the dumbest excuse for sleeping around I have ever heard.
As a family that we are not celebrating Father's Day this year.
Oh, you're not? I bet we celebrated Mother's Day, though.
It's my wife's first Mother's Day.
Oh, no, we did.
Spicer was one of her favorite things.
So why aren't we celebrating Father's Day?
Father's Day, it's always in June, and it's like
Last
always
year
around.
was June 18th, which is Matt's birthday, so
Yes.
he had Father's Day and his birthday on the same day. And
So sad.
I will say, I did kind of combine the holidays.
You did combine the two of them.
You guys have got to go watch that full video, because I don't know where that lady put her broomstick up her ass, it seems, but we're not doing Father's Day because it's just an inconvenience. That's like having one child that's born at the beginning of December and then just like being like, you know what, kids, fuck this kid's birthday. It's too close to Christmas. We're just not celebrating it, you know? Like, but it's worse because it's a dad who's providing for his family that you're literally just saying is an inconvenience. I mean, look at her face. She's so sour about it too. You know that she's one of those girls that wishes herself a happy Mother's Day on Father's Day. Like, she's gonna want flowers from him or...
Notice how she cuts him off and runs over him whenever he speaks.
A 29-year-old woman is going viral on the internet because she doesn't know why she's single.
I genuinely just want love in my life so badly. All of my friends have their fiancés and their boyfriends and their husbands. As far as I'm concerned, I've been left behind. And I really just want to find that person that matches my energy and wants to build a life with me.
Some of the best advice I have ever heard or received was actually from my boyfriend, who was talking to a friend of mine, and he says, if you are desperate desperately searching for a man, that desperation starts to sort of give off a scent to men who may be prospects for a relationship. Try to go through the world with a little bit of confidence, focusing on what you can do to make yourself a better person. And as soon as you do that, I feel a guy is going to catch that energy and say, I want to chase after this girl. I want to pursue her. But if you are constantly chasing the life partner and giving off the energy that you have a desperate need towards one, I honestly think it repels men.
Desperation will give off a scent that can potentially attract narcissists, psychopaths, and other predators. Be careful.
Does that make sense for you as far as like why divorce is inherently more risky for men?
I just feel like you're saying because women tend to be the person who initiates a divorce, correct?
Yes.
That's why it's riskier for men. But why do women tend to end divorces? With successful men that have money, they cheat.
She said it earlier.
They do all these things that women don't want to
She
put up
said it earlier.
with.
It's
So
a feeling.
why-
Feelings
yeah.
change from day to day.
Yeah,
time
so
to
I
time.
could have been in love with the person at the moment, but if that person is no longer treating me well just because we're married, I have to say no.
That's the point.
Because he can't be a good husband.
So as a man,
That's all I'm asking.
If I marry you and
Yeah.
you decide, you know what, he's not the guy I thought he was anymore, I'm leaving. You take half my stuff, and maybe.
So is there no risk
So?
without reward?
Oh, so what?
You married me, right?
No. So once again, this is why
You
men
wanted to marry me.
don't want to
You
get married.
thought you loved me enough that it would be worth it to you to marry me and
so
take
real
the
quick,
risk.
hold on, stop the show. You just basically admitted it with your own words why guys don't get married.
I would say it's just fiscally irresponsible to sign a contract where the other party gets rewarded for breaking it.
I just think marriage is an L in today's day and age. I mean, there's obviously the tradition component if you're religious, but when it comes to the government involvement and the potential financial ramifications of having to unwind a marriage, it does not make sense. So don't get married, guys. Don't do it. You do, but you could have a life partner, for example, but you just don't need the government involved.
Exactly
in that.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
And fully wants the whole white picket fence. We are husband and wife, but I just don't feel the need to go and sign some paper that lets them know that we are.
Yep.
Except, when she wants to leave, she's going to be in court claiming common law marriage to get alimony and child support.
With your sameness and fairness thing, to be honest with you, it kind of sounds to me like you want equality as long as it's benefiting women, but when it's not benefiting women and men can take the brunt of it, you're like, that's cool. Like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. How do you see that? How do
Well,
you
I
see
mean,
me
if
saying that?
if we lived in like a properly feminist world,
Uh-huh.
there wouldn't be affirmative action initiatives to put more women in positions of like workplace positions and in academic positions. If we had a truly equal world, women, like I said, would get drafted into the military. Like, I think if feminists want to truly fight for equality, it's like, put your money where your mouth is. But if you only want equality when it's benefiting you, then it's not. You don't actually want equality. You just want a world that benefits women more often.
They've been taught victimhood is empowerment. Clear reasoning will always befuddle those who think like a feminist.
I'm not going to thank my husband for putting a new trash bag into the trash can. I'm not going to thank him for putting his clothes in the hamper. I'm not going to thank him for unloading the dishwasher. I'm not going to thank him for changing a diaper. I'm not going to thank him for cleaning a toilet. I'm not going to thank him for making the bed. I'm not going to thank him for doing any of the things that just come with living in a house. Like, if he would have to do it, if I didn't live here, like if he lived by himself and that was still a required task, I'm not saying thank you. That is just part of existing in a functioning home.
I'm not sure where this line of thought came from, that if we say thank you or show any type of gratitude, that we are enabling lazy men and that we will end up receiving less. Ladies, that is not how men work. And could you imagine if a man took the same line of thought and he decided he would no longer praise you for caring for your children, for making dinner, or for doing housework? Men are results driven, which is why gratitude, even for the small things, goes a long way.
You don't have to thank him because his new wife definitely will.
There's no incentive for women to behave well through the course of a divorce at all, the way the laws are written. Legal professionals that I've talked to in the past will tell you flat out, you do not want to go to court. You want to try to resolve this out of court, because if you have a penis, you're going to lose. When things like parental alienation get very bad, what usually ends up happening is if the guy is lucky, he might get to see his kids and he gets to see how effective his ex-wife is at brainwashing his kids into hating him and taking all of his money and doing whatever she wants with it, and he has no say.
Absolutely correct. In addition to what Rich said, choose your state very wisely before you file that divorce paperwork, gentlemen.
Call up a guy and say you want to hook up tonight.
Oh, I got a good one.
Can we hang out whenever you get back?
Now you want to hang out?
No, I do, yeah.
No, absolutely not.
No. I'm gonna go with someone else.
Go.
That's the guy that has had a crush on me since 7th grade.
That's a W Brown.
That's wild, bro. He's been in the friend zone for 7 years and rejects her over the...
A moment of silence for all the fallen brothers who are stuck with leftover harpies.
Excuse me, sir. I have a question.
Okay.
Do you want to go on a date and get naughty together?
No, I'm good.
You don't want to? Not at all?
Nope, sorry.
Okay. Do you want to go on a date and get naughty?
Oh, I'll pass.
Okay. I'm sorry. This is awkward because you rejected me.
Go find someone else.
Okay. Thank you. Rejected.
Oh, man. Rejected easily. And then she calls him awkward. Yikes.
I just hope more women understand why most men pick pizza and video games with the boys on the weekends instead of chasing an ungrateful woman.
Imagine thinking that it was a bad thing, by the way, for a man to say that it's their job to take care of women. Remember when that was noble? You remember? I don't remember when the Titanic was sinking. I don't remember all the women complaining that they were on the boats first with the children. No. Were they like, no, I'm staying here. Men, you take the boats. I've got this. No, because that would be weird. That would make no sense, right? And now we're warped, right? So this now we've been programmed as women to think that when a man says it's my job to take care of a woman, you're supposed to be offended by that. Instead of saying to yourself, well, that's a fundamentally decent man that thinks that's his job and is going to work his butt off to make that happen. Warped society. Don't play the game.
The Titanic reference is bang on. Funny enough, I watched the film a few weeks ago and had the same thought. For women to claim that we've always had a patriarchal society that favors men is ridiculous when you consider that women and children got off the ship safely first. Men put women first.
Guys don't like to think about women having been with anybody before them. At all. Like no one at all. They prefer to just be like, the vagina was closed before they got there, and then it opened, and now it's in process. Like, they just can't. They don't want to visualize it. It's very uncomfortable for them to do that. So the more partners you've had, the more you start to seem like an open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 7-Eleven. They're not into it. It just is. Also, if they're looking at you seriously, they're saying, this could be the mother of my child, going to be pregnant. Like it's a clash. Like promiscuity and that family, it's just a clash in their head. They don't like it.
If she's used to jumping from man to man, what are the odds she will stop forever?
As a professional matchmaker, I see so many great women get declined by men for really silly reasons. So men, what are the main reasons why you would decline meeting a woman? Post your reasons in the comments attached, and I want to see if my theories are correct behind this.
They don't enjoy the simple, quiet moments of just sharing time together.
Men always just want virgins that hadn't had to anyone and are really good girls. Like, you want younger women as well, so it's like that whole predator vibe. So
what if I said women are stupid, can't make money, short, and weak because they want a guy that makes more money than them, taller than them, more confident, ambitious, etc.? That would be ludicrous, wouldn't it? We don't shame female preferences. Okay? When a woman says, I want a man that's tall, makes money, etc., you go, girl, you deserve it. That's your preferences. If I say, I want a girl that's not that has some sexual temperance, isn't going to embarrass me when I walk in a room, beautiful, young, etc., that's considered, oh, that's toxic and masculine. We demonize male preferences, but we don't demonize female preferences.
I wonder if she understands what he said.
There is a big difference between a bitter baby mama and a frustrated single mother. If she says, I don't like that you have a girlfriend, so I'm not letting you see our child, that's a bitter baby mama. If she says, I think it's BS that you pick and choose when you want to see your kid, that's a frustrated single mother. If she says, I'm increasing child support if you don't do things my way, that's a bitter baby mama. If she says, I need you to step up and pay for and take care of the child we made together, that's a frustrated single mother. If she won't hand over the child because you were 3 hours late for pickup, that's a frustrated single mother. But if she won't hand over the child because you were 3 minutes late for pickup, that's a bitter baby mama. A very important thing in co-parenting is to not treat a frustrated single mother like a bitter baby mama and vice versa, because these two women are not the same.
The big difference between a frustrated mother and a bitter baby mama is that the frustrated mom looks out for the kid, while the bitter baby mama only looks out for herself.
Is it just me, or do men not approach women anymore?
Men my age and younger are no longer walking up to women. Why do you guys not do that?
Where are all the good men, they're asking?
Where are all the good men? Where did all the good men go?
Men don't approach you. Although you have beautiful hair, your makeup is spot on.
They're weenies. They haven't been trained.
My eyebrow girl gave me the best line to use if a guy keeps staring at you but won't come up and say anything to you.
Men have been specifically trained to avoid talking to women by women.
Me during the earthquake so that she doesn't get the ick. This is literally what men have to do. These are the hoops they have to jump through because of the ridiculous standards that women put on them on social media. Somebody commented and said, new ick, standing still during an earthquake. Somebody else said, what earthquake? I didn't feel shit. That is what you have to say.
Have all the standards you want, ladies. More power to you. But don't blame men when you find yourself perpetually single.
Who are more loyal, men or women?
I think men if they are in love.
Why do you think so?
Because women often are searching for missing things in their life in other men. If men are in love, they're giving everything to women.
And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Support this channel through membership. You can also support through PayPal link in the description. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.